Welcome back to All Things Odd and Strange. Hi, I'm Lou, your host here at All Things Odd and Strange, where we explore the odd in a slightly strange way. This episode is going to really have you scratching your noggin. Do you believe in giants? Stories of Goliath, Jack and the Beanstalk, the giants in the Old Testament that made the wandering Israelites look like grasshoppers. And during Noah's time, it is written that there were giants on the earth in those days. Giants certainly exist in the mind of humanity. So where would this idea first come from? Some would say it's an archetype. And we'll delve into archetypes probably in some other podcast at this point. Well, let's go ahead and delve a bit into the history of Lovelock Cave, Nevada, where some of our questions perhaps may be answered. Our story begins in 1911 with a group of guano hunters. Now, if you're not familiar with what guano is bat feces, and it's a well-sought-after product. Guano is a desired component for fertilizer, and when found in large quantities, it was like striking gold. Mr. J. H. Hart and companions just happened upon Lovelock Cave in Nevada, seeking out the prized guano. As they began to explore the cave, they came across hundreds of ancient artifacts and decided to call the authorities. The cave was then formally excavated between 1912 and the 1970s. Those that did the excavation concluded that after many years of research, this cave was used by various peoples from 2600 BC to the mid-1800s. Hundreds of artifacts were dug up, categorized, and shipped to various museums. All sounds well and good, right? Well, if it were all well and good, I wouldn't be talking about this subject here, now would I? This cave, according to the Paiute history, is the scene of a great confrontation between their people and a race of giant red-headed people who lived there before the Paiute arrived. That would really change all we know, or we thought we knew, about the history of the Americas. Maybe another topic. Anyway, as the story goes, these giants were cannibals and used to catch the Paiute people for dinner. They also wreaked havoc in areas where they would settle for a bit due to their massive hunting practices. The Paiute were in competition for resources and had to dodge being captured by these giants as well. There is even a story where one particular giant wore a large basket on his back and filled it full of thorns. He would throw whoever he caught into the basket, and they would become entangled and could not escape. Another attribute of the giants is that they could kill their victim just by looking at them. These giants were reported as being 6 feet to 11 feet tall. The locals grew tired of the giants' bullying behavior and began to fight back. The war between the Paiute and the giants lasted for many years. One of their final battles was at Lovelock Cave in Nevada. The Paiute were in hot pursuit when a group of giants ran into the cave for cover. The Paiute surrounded the cave and called out to them, but they would not answer, and the standoff lasted for quite a while. Next, they decided to pile a great amount of wood at the entrance of the cave and proceeded to set it alight. The smoke billowed and the fire roared. The giants were trapped. It is reported that all those giants who ran for cover into that cave that day were killed. Great story, but is it true? In 1904, while excavating in an area around the Lovelock Cave, it was reported in the local newspaper that the remains of an 11-foot man was found. However, this was amended in 1936 to say the man was only 9.5 feet tall. It seems as though they were already trying to downsize these stories. This skeleton had red hair. There were many other findings as well, like 15-inch sandals, and very large, robust skulls were found that were at least 3 times larger than the size of an average human skull. This information found its way onto the front pages of the local newspaper. So what happened to the large 11-foot or 9.5-foot skeleton, as well as some of the artifacts? They were shipped off to the Smithsonian and never heard from again. When researchers try to inquire as to their whereabouts, the Smithsonian politely denies their existence. This is the same MO they used with the Egyptian-like artifacts that were found in the Grand Canyon. I think I'll make this topic my next episode. Oh, and get this. The best specimens of giants that were found in that area were taken by the Fraternal Lodge. The bones were boiled down and cleaned, and then used for initiation ceremonies. The 70s rolled around, and the disinformation campaign rolled in. Not much mention is given to the red-haired giants of Lovelock Cave, and debunking the history of the Paiute people, as well as the archaeological findings, are still a pastime for some. So, what do you think? As usual, I'll leave you to do your own research and make up your own mind. And I'll see you on the flip side.